Hello, my name is Merissa Ramoutar, and my research is supporting English language learners experiencing anxiety in the primary grades in Ontario elementary classrooms. Over 50% of English language elementary schools consist of ELLs, and they encounter barriers such as learning a new culture, language, and having to start a new life, as well as having to achieve academic benchmarks like their non-ELL peers. This increases feelings of anxiety, which adversely affects children's mental health and inhibits learning. Language anxiety can be defined as the worry and negative emotional reaction aroused when learning or using a second language. There is a disparity between the complexity of the needs of ELLs and the availability of ELL services in Canadian schools. Teachers need to recognize ELL anxiety and develop strategies to support students. The purpose of the study was to investigate how non-ELL teachers in Ontario schools identify triggers of anxiety in ELLs, with a particular interest in finding out what classroom and instructional strategies and resources did teachers use to support ELLs in their learning. English language learners are defined as students whose first language is other than English and may require support in attaining proficiency in English. These students may have been born in Canada or may have recently arrived from other countries. The main research question is, how do non-ELL teachers perceive and respond to ELL's anxiety in mainstream Ontario elementary classrooms? The subsequent questions were, how do non-ELL teachers come to know about ELL student anxiety during the academic year? What do teachers see as challenges in supporting ELLs with anxiety? What strategies and initiatives do these teachers use to address anxiety among ELLs in their classrooms? According to the literature review, anxiety causes changes in the brain-body system that actually inhibits students' ability to learn, and this impacts virtually every kind of cognition. Foreign language anxiety had a negative emotional impact on students' abilities to learn a language and communicate effectively. Research also suggests that there is a direct correlation between anxiety and student achievement. Through culturally relevant teaching, students engage with their own social, cultural, and political knowledge, which helps them think critically. Through differentiated instruction, teachers meet students' individual needs, and when parents and teachers work together, students achieve more, are motivated, have higher levels of emotional, social, and behavioral adjustments. The methods I used for this study was a mono method qualitative approach, and using semi-structured interviews through Zoom, I was able to interview my 2 participants who had at least 5 years of teaching experience. They had at least 3 years experience working with ELLs. They worked with students with anxiety. They worked in different school boards to have a wider geographic area. And they were both non-ELL teachers and non-ELL specialists. The key findings of this study were having personal experience with anxiety allowed for teachers to recognize anxiety in their students and understand ways of supporting them. They also realized that recognizing anxiety was a complex issue, and anxiety could be manifested in different ways, whether it was avoidance or being quiet. There were also challenges in supporting ELL students experiencing anxiety in the classroom, such as teachers having insufficient training or the lack of teacher preparedness. Teachers also found that standardized testing triggered anxiety and therefore hindered student performance. Some of the effective strategies they found to support ELLs was through differentiated instruction, and this could be through visual aids, varied grouping, using an asset-based lens, and a growth mindset. They also found that student belonging was a strategy to support ELLs experiencing anxiety. And this could be being through being a culturally relevant teacher, building relationships with students, having that parent-teacher communication, and really understanding the social emotional needs of students. In conclusions, the teachers felt that they were not effectively trained in their teacher education program to fully support ELLs experiencing anxiety in the classroom once they graduated and came into the workforce. The teachers explained that their personal experiences, their paid additional qualifications that they did, as well as the years of the teaching experience that they had, all accounted for them being better able to perceive and address anxiety in ELL students as opposed to their colleagues or their peers who did not have this training or having those experiences. The teachers also discussed the complexity of anxiety, which calls for flexibility of strategy. So what might work for one student may not work for another, or what might work for one teacher may not work. But they stressed the importance of student belonging and differentiated instruction, and this was supported by research. Some of the implications were having that self-reflection, that self-awareness, and being able to create an inclusive classroom, as well as promoting student belonging, making them feel safe, making them feel that they're appreciated, using differentiated instruction to cater to unique needs, skills, and abilities, as well as being a lifelong learner, keeping up to date. So some of the recommendations were, as I said, keeping up with current research, know what's happening, being collaborative and reaching out to colleagues, letting students actually know about mental health and how to cope. They also stress the importance of funding for classroom resources, as well as more teacher training and professional development, hiring more staff, modifying those teacher education courses, and revising assessment policies, moving away from standardized testing, having ongoing assessment, right? Using like teacher hubs. So future studies could be done on a larger scale to gain valuable insights across different demographics and student populations, as well as including perspectives from families and other stakeholders, not just these two teachers in these two classrooms. And further research can be done to understand how confident and prepared graduating teacher candidates feel to support ELLs experiencing anxiety as opposed to teachers who have that experience. This is my presentation, and thank you for listening.